Do you remember a scene from the Office Space movie? There, Peter Gibbons and his accomplices decide to defraud in attack. They discuss how a few pennies will round up to thousands of dollars and nobody will notice. Well, swap this for music streaming, and that's more or less what happened to Michael Smith. A 52-year-old musician, Smith allegedly used AI to generate thousands of songs to stream on music platforms 24/7 using bots. This fraud scheme earned him a hefty $10 million over the course of roughly 7 years. Charged with 3 counts of fraud and money laundering, he may get up to 60 years in prison. Michael Smith was a musician who legitimately made his own music and uploaded it for licensing. But making your own music is not simple and takes time, and apparently what he earned was not enough for him. And here's where he figured out an arbitrage opportunity in music streaming. Let's look at Spotify. Here's how it works in the US. As a listener, you pay $12 a month to listen to unlimited music on Spotify. There are of course other cheaper plans, such as Family Plan for $20 for 6 people. But let's roll with a $12 example. Spotify takes your $12 and pools them with subscription payments from other subscribers. As of the last quarter, Spotify had 246 million paying subscribers and earned $3.7 billion of premium revenue. Spotify takes a 25% cut from these revenues, while 75% goes to musicians. But how do musicians divide this pot? Here's how. Spotify distributes money based on how often people listen to musicians' songs. So let's take 246 million subscribers. Suppose that they listened to 2,000 songs in the last quarter, which translates into 492 billion streams. The musician's pot to divide is $2.8 billion. This means that each artist can get up to 0.5 cents. The real number is somewhere between 0.3 to 0.5 cent. But notice how users pay a flat fee of $12 regardless of how much they listen. Conversely, Spotify pays artists based on the variable stream-by-stream basis. So, if you sign up and don't listen to any music at all during a month, your money gets thrown into the pot and gets allocated to artists based on what everyone else listens. But if you sign up and listen to a lot of music of one specific artist, you can generate potentially more than $12 of royalty revenue for a musician that you really like. And this is where the arbitrage opportunity comes in. If you are Michael Smith and you have your songs on Spotify, here's what you would do. Get yourself a Spotify account for $12. A family plan would be even better. Somehow, listen to your songs non-stop every minute, hour, night or day. Assuming an average 3-minute song, you can generate roughly 14,000 streams. Assuming 0.5 cents per stream rate, you get $70. The profit is 70 minus 12 or $58. Spotify hates this, and it's illegal based on their terms of service. So if you're an artist like Michael Smith who wants to, succeed with the scheme, you have to do all sorts of trickery. Like for instance, maybe open up accounts for artists and subscribers under fake names or etc. Still, we see that $58 is not much of a money. To make something respectable, you have to scale it up, like really big. Maybe have 500 or 1000 fake bot accounts. And of course, you must have a large collection of songs to avoid detection. Michael Smith probably was not earning enough with humans listening to his songs. So allegedly he had a light bulb moment in 2017. He took notice of this arbitrage scheme, and from there greed took over. Here's how it allegedly proceeded. First, Smith created thousands of fake accounts on streaming platforms where his songs were distributed. At some point he had over 10,000 bot accounts. You can imagine how labor-intensive it must have been. But Smith allegedly hired people from abroad and other co-conspirators in the US to do this work. To maximize his streams, he was using family plans like that on Spotify, giving him access to 6 accounts at a time. For example, in 2017, Smith sent an email to one of his conspirators asking to create bot accounts. Make up names and addresses. Just make sure they are all the same for family member and also make sure everyone is over 18. To conceal the identity of his bot accounts even further, he used a special card service company. That company issued for him many debit cards. Allegedly, he spent over $1.3 million on this service alone. And of course, he could not have possibly streamed everything from one location. This would have raised red flags immediately. So instead, he used cloud computers with VPNs, virtual private networks, to conceal even further his IP addresses. So Smith would start a program which would open web players for each streaming platform. His bot accounts would then stream music there on separate tabs 24/7. Whew, that's a lot of work just to make bots stream. And don't forget that he had to add a lot of songs. Otherwise, if he had too few songs with thousands of bots streaming them, red flags would pop up right away. At first, he used bots on his own songs, but his song catalog was probably just too small to make a difference. He later tried to use another person's songs in exchange for a cut. He even tried to sell fraudulent streaming as a service to other musicians. But apparently it was hard to scale, or just plain simple, people wouldn't join his fraudulent scheme. And this is where artificial intelligence came into play. Allegedly in 2018, Smith got acquainted with the CEO of an AI music company and some music promoter. Smith emailed them saying, "We need to get a ton of songs fast to make this work around the anti-fraud policies that these guys are all using now." The two co-conspirators got busy creating thousands of songs each week using AI. The songs given to Smith had names with randomized letters and numbers like this. Smith would later randomly generate song and artist names that would appear real. Here's some song names: Zymes, Zymite, Zymophyte, Zymogenes, and so on. For artist names, Smith used some funny names such as Calliope Bloom, Calliope Eratum, Callas, Callas Humane, Callas Post, and so on. At some point, Smith and his two conspirators even signed an agreement. There, they agreed to create up to 10,000 songs a month. In return, Smith would give them 15% cut from streaming revenues. I mean, I can't imagine that this agreement was legally binding and would hold a court scrutiny. Initially, the music quality was probably okay, not some cool stuff. In 2019, one of the co-conspirators messaged Smith, "Keep in mind, what we are doing musically here, this is not music, it's instant music." But allegedly, the quality of AI songs improved a lot over time, and this helped Michael Smith to avoid fraud detection by streaming platforms. In 2020 email, one of conspirators wrote, "Song quality is 10 to 20 times better now, and we also have vocal generation capabilities." Have a listen to the attached for an idea of what I'm talking about. I wish I could take a peek at these songs, but unfortunately they have been removed, or at least I can't find them. But the scale and the amount of work have been truly of gargantuan proportion for Smith. Of course, there was some automation too. In 2017, Smith sent an email to himself where he outlined the fruit of his fraud scheme. Here it is. 52 cloud service accounts with 1,040 bot accounts, over 600,000 streams per day, around 0.5 cent revenue per stream, monthly revenue of $99,000 or $1.2 million per year. Later in his 2024 email, Smith bragged how his existing music has generated at this point over 4 billion streams and $12 million in royalties since 2019. But as with many frauds, things don't go as expected. The streaming companies became very sophisticated with fraud detection, and they started circling around Smith. And at some point, certain music distribution companies even booted out Smith from their platforms. Allegedly, he protested and denied his fraud scheme. At some point, probably someone reported Smith to the FBI, and eventually he got arrested in 2024. Smith faces charges on 3 counts of fraud and money laundering. Each count carries a maximum of 20 years, so 60 years in jail in total. I have nothing else to add here other than this. The arbitrage was clearly there if you looked around, and of course it was explicitly prohibited by the terms of service. But who reads the fine print, right? It's just that Michael Smith was a big fish who triggered some fraud thresholds and got caught. And I'm pretty sure that probably there are other people who are committing similar fraud. It's just that they're too small. And that is it for this video, guys. Thank you so much as always for watching, and please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel for more content on interesting economic and investing topics.